There was once a time I'd hoped for a curse. I'd hoped that the fae marks that bound me to a life of suffering were true, that all that ridicule and judgment wouldn't be for nothing. How foolish I was. I didn't know what it was to suffer then. Not yet. Not like I did now. There were two ways to process the kind of pain that I felt. The first was to forgive, to forget, to let the inescapable waves of agony simply wash over me until I became numb to them. That was not the way I chose. I chose the second way. I chose anger. I chose hate. I chose to let myself feel the torment, to face the truth of the pain instead of letting it fade. I just had to hope that the halls of Armin's sand court were built to handle the kind of tempest soon to be kindled by the enmity flowing through me in the wake of my brother's death. I'd fought so hard to save him, and in the end, it hadn't been enough. None of it had. Everything I'd done from the moment Caldemir showed up in my world, from the moment we met in Lord Otto's study, had been for nothing. Everything I'd fought for, it had been for nothing. Or it would be, if I let it end now. So as much as I was tempted to succumb to the crushing weight of my defeat, I forced myself to stand firm. An all-consuming rage sobered me the way nothing else could. I'd been cursed. I'd been kidnapped. I'd escaped the narrow clutches of death time and time again. I'd faced fiend and foe and friend. I'd passed between worlds too many times to count, and in the process lost so much of myself that I couldn't in my right conscience claim to be the same girl who first stepped foot in Avarath. One thing, however, remained the same. One thing still drove me. It was the desire to protect my brother that had prompted me to go with the fae when they first came for me. And it was that same desire, however late it was, that drove me now. My brother, the very last of my own flesh and blood. If I couldn't save him, then what hope now did the rest of my world have? If I couldn't save Soul, then how could I even save myself? My hands were shaking, the roar of the last wave of glamour still echoing in my ears, nearly deafening me, when I lifted my head to look at the fae gathered before me. 3 princes of Avarath, 1 king of the realm beyond. These fae had been my enemies as often as they'd been my friends. They'd shifted sides as frequently as the sands now shifting beneath each wave of that glamour as it rocked through Avarath. Not long ago, they'd each one made a promise to help me save my brother. But now that the world had changed, perhaps they had once again changed too. With or without them, I knew what I had to do next. My brother. I'm going to get him back. My voice was small here in the cavern, but still, the moment I uttered the words that were barely more than a whisper, all eyes turned to me. Their own voices died down, whatever they'd been saying evaporating into that great empty chasm, spreading over our heads as if they'd never been spoken at all. I ignored the looks of pity their glances brought. I knew how I had to look.